Are we even live?
Happy Thursday, guys. Welcome into Puck Time here on WagerTalk TV. I am Andrew. I have Carmine, and the Prez is back with us here at this time with us on a Thursday. 3 games. Leafs, Islanders, Devils, Tampa Bay Lightning, and Bruins taking on the Vegas Golden Knights. Best bets at the end of the show. And guys, a much bigger slate of games today in the NHL. So a lot more going on for us over at wagertalk.com as far as the NHL is concerned. But Carm, we do have some good games, brother. I'm curious your thoughts on some of these games. We'll start things off with the Leafs and the Islanders. What do you think?
Yeah, a huge slate of games is much better, and I don't think the press can complain that there's only 2 games on a day where he's on the show. But we're going to kick it off with the Leafs and Isles. And Andrew, a couple different things to look at this game. You know, I talked about as far as goalies go. First off, we know that Martin Jones is confirmed for the Leafs tonight. It's always good to see what the goalies are. It's showing Sorokin right now. And here's the problem: is Sorokin's played like 8 straight games for the Islanders. He's obviously their number one, but he's taken such a big workload of late, and now the Isles are starting to regress a bit. 8 straight starts for him. He's allowed 4 or more goals in 5 of those 8 starts. That's not Sorokin like, a guy that everyone talks about being one of the best goalies in the league, along with Shesterkin. And he's struggling right now. The Islanders aren't scoring. They played so well for a good stretch that we're seeing them lose games now. And maybe this is the Islander team that many expected. I thought they would make the playoffs, but they're clearly struggling right now. And you got the Leafs, and you can say what you want to say about the Leafs and their 4-game win streak and who it came against. But I said when they hit the road that their 4 games were against the Kings, the Ducks, and back-to-back home and away, or away and home in this instance, against the San Jose Sharks. And for a team that didn't look good in their couple previous starts, it was the perfect springboard for this team to put together a good run, because their schedule is going to get tougher in the next couple of weeks. And here we are. Martin Jones is playing. He's just playing out of his head. You got to look at it, and I get it, the teams he's playing against, but against the Kings, he played equally as well. They're playing extremely well right now. And I think this is a perfect opportunity for Toronto to go in and beat up on an Islanders team that is struggling right now. But the Islanders will always get up for the Leafs, as we saw in that 4-3 OT game where John Tavares, I think, got his 1,000th point, I think it was, in that game. I'm looking at goals in this one. Even though Jones has played extremely well of late, I think the combination of these two teams who don't like each other, the fan base in New York absolutely hates John Tavares and boos him every time on the ice, and maybe that motivates him. I think the total's a very good play here, and I like it. So I'm taking over 6.5 in this game, and I'll toss it over to Prez for his thoughts.
Why, thank you, Carmine. It is excellent to be here. And I just want to say, I mean, you bring me on. There's so many games. I'm so confused. There's so much to choose from. Anyway, let's get into it. Man, I got to tell you, if I didn't swear off betting against the Leafs, I would be on the Islanders tonight. Leafs have won 4 in a row with some unbelievable defense. Haven't allowed more than 1 goal in 4 games. Very not Leaf-like, if you will. And as Carmine mentioned, the Islanders are reeling. I was on them against Vancouver. They lost. They lost to Vegas. They've won 1 in their last 5. I don't think this is a good spot for the Leafs. They just came off of a big road trip, a back-to-back with a puff cake named San Jose. And now they're going to play the Islanders, and I think this Islanders team is going to give them their best. They need to start turning their losing streak around. I just don't like the number. Plus 110 doesn't feel like enough value to me. Maybe throw a little bit on the tie as well. Leafs #1 team in the league and going to overtime. But I don't think the Leafs are the right play here at all. I'd rather be betting the Islanders. I would like to get somewhere around plus 130, but I can't, so I'm not going to release that play. But I think the Islanders are the right side here, and I wouldn't touch the total in this game. I don't know how for real this Leaf defense goaltender situation is right now. So I'm just going to look at the New York Islanders. I am going to obviously pass on this game from a client perspective, but ultimately, if I had to bet it, I would bet the Islanders.
Great stuff, Prez. And, I know it's hard to go against your team, but look at this Maple Leafs team right now. At 13 players got a point in their game last time out against the San Jose Sharks. So people were talking about how great it was to see them not take a bad team lightly. Well, now the big test is how do they play the next game after beating the crap out of another team? That, to me, is you've got pretty much two opposite scenarios here. You have the Islanders that just lost by a handful of goals against one of the better teams in the whole league, and pretty much the exact opposite situation happening with the Maple Leafs. They just absolutely kicked San Jose's ass and made them look like they were an East Coast team all night long. So that, to me, is kind of the big test. Now, I really like what you guys are mentioning. Carm, has been talking about Marty Jones and what he's done. And, that's the thing. We can talk about this guy and his long-term records and numbers, but as of right now, the goaltending overall and the defense has actually been better. A lot of great quotes out of Sheldon Keefe talking about how they've kept the puck out of their own end, and they've been defending well in their own end. But to me, I just kind of have a tough time looking at the motivation factor here for both teams, and I like the underdog spot here. I'm going to take the New York Islanders at home. It's always a big game when these teams get together, and I just like the fact that you're seeing an Islanders team that did create a lot of chances, ran into a goaltender that did play pretty well against Vancouver, but I almost feel like they got outclassed in that last game. They will not be happy. They get a chance to respond again at home. No running around, no traveling, an instant, kind of bounce back spot with just 1 day rest. I'm going to take the Islanders here in this spot, guys. Lean to the under, though. Do lean to the under. I know the Islanders have been an over team this season, actually. But at what point, guys, do we start saying this is an overreaction now? What is this number last year, early in the season? 5.5, 6. Now we're seeing some 6.5s. At what point do the Islanders go back to being the Islanders we know them to be? And that's being a defensive-minded team, winning low-scoring games, protecting their own end. I mean, some of the advanced metrics still state they're one of the highest expected goals for teams. So that does tell us something as far as, what they're capable of offensively. I'm going to go with the plus money here, guys. The home team. We'll see if they can get it done. The Maple Leafs are playing well, and I'll be the first to admit I'm not happy, especially over their, past couple of games. I have not made enough money betting on that team, especially against San Jose, guys. Carm, I feel like we haven't used the free space on the bingo card with them enough, man. They've dropped now like 13 straight again, or 12 straight. They're like the Detroit Pistons. Yeah. They won 1 or 2 games, and then all of a sudden they're on a huge losing streak.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable how bad this team is.
They don't. So, Andrew, here's the thing: is number one, first of all, they don't even belong on the bingo card to San Jose. So let's not even discuss them. But because at least the free space shows up every once in a while, or is there. But I like the fact that we're going mano a mano. I get it. You believe that goal expectancy at some point has to come down. Hence, but until I see signs of it, I just can't. And I see Sorokin is now confirmed as the starter tonight. So it's Jones and Sorokin going tonight. But he just even off the road trip, he didn't look good on the road trip. He didn't look good within the road trip. And you look at the travel that they had. They went from Pittsburgh, then Colorado, Arizona. And then they finish in Vegas. I get the whole travel within those, but they had a day off in between. Usually those are maintenance days for the goalies if they're going to start. I just don't see it. I just think this team is struggling in front of them defensively, and I think the Leafs got a bit of a springboard from those 4 games. I think you look at the Leafs' schedule over the next 7 to 10 days, I believe it is. And there's some toughies in there. I think they've got, I think, Calgary and Edmonton in there as well too. So we'll see how it goes. But it's hard to put any money on the New York Islanders, even if you went with, okay, the first back off a road trip, they stumble against the Vancouver Canucks. You can stumble, but it would look even worse than that against the Canucks, a team with some speed. So I just couldn't. Andrew, I wouldn't bet your money on the Islanders tonight, and that's not saying the Islanders won't win tonight. I'm just saying.
I'll bet my money.
Saying I would not bet it. So I will.
I will though.
I will be here in case you need any money afterwards, a loan or something.
Andrew, I'm happy. Andrew, I'm happy to bet your money on anything. Makes no difference to me. Just want to throw that out there.
Let me ask you this, Carm.
I'll take the Islanders minus 2.5 with Andrew's money, please.
What team is better, Carm? The Canucks or the Leafs?
The Canucks or the Leafs?
Who's better
on the season as a whole? The Canucks have been playing better. If you put them in a 7-game series in the playoffs, I would take the Leafs.
Yeah, baby. I agree 100%, by the way, with that. Carm knows his stuff, Andrew.
I think just overall in the season, guys, and this is coming from someone that lost on the Islanders last time out. I just think that they've been underappreciated a lot. So the Islanders lost, and we can rip on them for losing to the Canucks, but the Canucks are just really good. So I'm almost just paying more homage for how they played. I don't think the Islanders got their asses kicked. You know?
Andrew, the Islanders look like total garbage against the Canucks.
The Islanders.
Yeah, Andrew, let's slow down here, bro.
But this is
calm down.
But listen, let's get into other games. But listen, you can look like absolute garbage one night, and then you look like Stanley Cup champions the next. It is use Colorado as an example. They go into, and I guess it was earlier in the season, but they go to Vegas and they get absolutely bombarded 7-0. They look horrible. How did they look last night? They look a hell of a lot better against the same Vegas team. It's night and day with these teams sometimes. But with that said, I know we got another game to talk about, but how about I put this out as a play yesterday, but as I put it out, I had to grin and bear it because I'm going with a trend that I thought was going to continue. The Dallas Stars, 13 straight home overs, 18-4 at home to the over. And they're playing a Minnesota team that if you watch the game for the first 2 periods, you're like, Minnesota isn't capable of scoring a goal in this game. And I'm like, this bet is dead. And then I get 6 in the third period. It doesn't matter when they come. They all count. And 13 games in a row over the total at home for Dallas is absolutely insane.
And if people haven't been joining me on the team totals, yesterday is a good example of that. Only one team made you sweat the full game over, and it wasn't Dallas. Dallas catching their team total once again. Let's move on here, Prez, to the next one. We've got Tampa, and we have New Jersey going head-to-head. What do you think about this matchup?
Well, firstly, it's a shame we got no Hughes, no Timo, but that's okay. Look, I don't like this Tampa Bay team. I don't think this Tampa Bay team makes the playoffs. I think this Tampa Bay team is a leaky boat, to be honest with you. They just stink on defense. I understand they held LA to 2. Before that, Boston put up 7 on them. Yeah, Minnie only put up 1. Carm already mentioned that Minnie doesn't. It looks like they can't score at times. This is a team that allows 3.5, 4 goals a game of late. They have just finally hit the skids after those Stanley Cup, the 2 Stanley Cup wins, the 3 appearances. I mean, this team is old. It's tired. It's slow. It's on its last legs. I like the over in this game, Andrew. I even with New Jersey's 2, scorers out, I just think there's going to be a ton of open ice for this New Jersey Devils team. And I think there's a reason a lot of teams are scoring on Tampa Bay, and that is Tampa Bay just allows for a lot of space. And as a guy who plays hockey almost professionally, even at the age of 54, that's how good I am. Space is what you require on the ice. That one extra second to deliver the puck correctly is the key to this game. And I think we're going to see a lot of space. And one thing we know about Tampa Bay, no matter how bad they are defensively, this team can put the puck in the net. They put up 3 against LA, 3 against Boston, 4 against Minnesota, 4 against Montreal. They obviously have games here and there where they only put up 2 goals, 1 goal. But I look at this game and I think this game is going to be a very high scoring game. I think it's going to lack defense on both sides. And New Jersey is a team. Look, the Devils are 24-13 to the over. 24-13. That's one of the top over teams in the league. In their last 3 games, they put up 4, 4, and 6. They've put up 6 goals twice in their last 5 games. I see absolutely no reason not to bet the over here, and that's exactly what I'm doing. And you know what, Andrew? That's a client play. It's already been put up, released, sent out. There's press releases about it. They're talking about it in Djibouti. That's a client play.
Prez, you're very good at making me not want to go against you, which is a talent. The way you deliver and how confident you sound. But I'll just say that for me, it's the same thing with Kaprizov in the Wild. When the Devils are missing Jack Hughes, they're one of the few teams that you notice it right away. Like they might have a little bit of depth, but you never want to be that guy that overreacts to a quarterback being out or star player in the NBA. Yep. But I do take it into account with this Devils team, both Timo and Jack being out. And look at this. Look at how this Tampa Bay team performs against teams with decent records, against good teams. They had that win against LA. It was still only 3-2. Whenever they've played actual good teams, they don't really fare very well. They've done a good job of beating up on teams that are struggling or teams that aren't playing well, like the Canadians or the Blues or the Golden Knights when they weren't playing well in their stride. They'll lose to teams like Winnipeg that are actually playing consistent, good hockey. So I hate to disagree, but I'm actually on the under here, guys. Carmine, you'll remember when I first started talking about the Wild without Kaprizov, I said I'm either fading them or I'm betting the unders. And for a long time, those unders were coming in because they simply, even though it's one player, he shoots the puck like 7-8 times a game. To me, that takes a lot away from a team offensively, hurts their power play. So lean to the under, slight lean to Jersey though, but I can't get here with this number. I guess it's kind of like what Prez said. I just don't like the price on this one. That's why I'm staying away from the money line. Small lean to the under. What do you think, Carm?
First, I want to comment on Prez's take on Tampa Bay because he talks about Tampa Bay like he talks about how you would talk to your wife about your all-season tires. It's 3 years. They're worn out. We've got to get new ones. Listen, they're not the same team, and Andrew's mentioned it a lot of times. They're not the same team they were during those 2 Stanley Cup runs. But even though they lost players, they still made it a 3rd run to the Stanley Cup. And if nothing else, John Cooper with this team manages the minutes. He's not trying to win a division. He's trying to get into the playoffs, and then he lets the experience of the team and any additions they can make towards the trade deadline get this team into the 2nd round or 3rd round. Didn't happen last year. They get bounced in the 1st round. But this is a spot where I think Tampa is the right spot here. You just have to decide if it's the price you want to play it at. Because with Timo Meier and Jack Hughes out of the lineup, that's like 9 goals, I think, Timo Meier, 15 goals, Jack Hughes. It's not so much the 15 goals for Jack Hughes. It's the fact that Jack Hughes opens up so much ice for the rest of the team to get into the O zone and establish their game, which is why he's got that tremendous speed and he could just pick up the puck at his own blue line and go. And we saw when he was out and he got injured, I think it was against the St. Louis Blues, for the next few games, they couldn't do anything. They didn't look like a team. They look slower as a team because of one guy out of the lineup. He is the captain of that ship. And when you're missing your captain, what do? You run into an iceberg. Now, there's not a lot of icebergs in Florida, but there is a guy called Steven Stamkos and Kucherov, and I think Tampa is a play tonight. I'm probably going to take Stamkos to score tonight because he looks good on the ice. He looked good in the last game as well too against the Kings. He's plus 160, I think, to score tonight. So I'm taking Tampa Bay here. I'm not touching the total because I don't know what we're going to get out of New Jersey. We'll find out tonight. But Tampa for me and Stamkos to score plus 160.
Carm, it sounds weird to say it, but Stamkos needs to start playing better. Like he needs that right now. He's a minus 18 on the season. That's unbelievable to really look at for a guy that's supposed to be a top dog on the team. I know the Tampa Bay Lightning haven't been as good, but you're right. He's playing better lately. He needs to keep that going. There's been talks of him might not even come back to Tampa Bay next year. He actually might hit free agency. They might not respect him and want to give him the money and pay him.
We'll take him.
Yeah, a lot of these guys,
cheap.
Yeah, a lot of these guys took a beating, Tampa Bay, as far as their plus minuses early in the season with Gustafsson and that before Vasilevsky came back when they were losing some scores by margin. And usually it's your top guys that are out there. And even late, when you're getting empty net goals scored against you, it's the top guys out there who are trying to get you back into the game. And we know John Cooper pulls his goalie with 6 or 7 minutes left. It's the way he is. If he's down 2 or 3 goals, he yanks that goalie out there early. He's an over better's dream as far as a coach goes. But with that said, if you watch that game last time out against the Kings, and I had the Kings, and they blew that 2-0 third period lead. Stamkos's positioning, even in the O-zone, was phenomenal. He literally finds an open space, and he got a shot on goal that at the time it was phenomenal. It was just a perfect shot on goal. It's his positioning more than anything else, and the guy's a star. You expect it from him, but as you said, Andrew, that plus minus is troubling for a number one a guy who's on the number one line to have a minus 18. Not good. No bueno.
I just want to say one thing. Carm, I thought that was a great take, and you're right. However, Vasilevsky has done nothing that Gustafsson didn't do. Nothing has changed. Zero.
Oh,
they went from one shitty goalie to a really old goalie who's now shitty.
No, what happened, Lawrence, and I mentioned it on the show a couple of days ago, is that Vasilevsky has been playing. Tampa has looked like it's Gustafsson back in net when Vasilevsky came back from the injury. And with these goalies, whether it's a back injury or what have you, or shoulder injury, it's always tough on a goalie. Injuries are so much tougher on goalies than they are on any other player, I believe, especially whether it's a groin, if it's a back injury, just because of what they've got to do, moving from side to side, up and down. It is so tough on a goalie, but he hasn't even looked good of late. He hasn't.
Dude, Russell Deck.
It is tough.
Russell Deck, who logs on and watches this show and WagerTalk today, and Russell, we really appreciate it, like legit. He thinks I'm hating on Tampa Bay and Vasilevsky, and that is just not true. I love Michael Keaton as a coach. I think he's one of the best coaches in the history of hockey. I think Vass is an amazing goaltender. But I don't think Wayne Gretzky would do really good in the NHL if he came out of retirement. And that doesn't mean I don't think Wayne Gretzky is not the best. Old is old. Done is done.
Yeah, sorry. Is that the case, though? Because you know what? I've been saying this a few times on the show, and Prez, you might not agree with me, but I'm really comparing Steve Kerr in the NBA to John Cooper these days in Tampa Bay, because guess what? This is the first year both of them haven't had a great team, and they're struggling, facing adversity in like 5 or 6 years. And it's not a good look on either of them. They're both complaining, whining, looking upset all the time on the bench. They're not making changes. Look what happens when you don't have all the depth that Tampa had for the past 3 years. Look what happens when Steph Curry can't save Steve Kerr and get 30 points a night.
The best coaches of all time. Yeah, why don't we throw Belichick in there?
Yeah, right? It's true. We can.
This stuff, we cannot expect, the best coaches of all time still suck when they have a crappy team. It's just the way it is. Like, ultimately, you can coach your ass off, and if the players don't play, There's nothing you can do about it.
If you don't have the team in front of you,
but the Leafs,
that's how it is, Prez.
right?
It's Bill Belichick. Look at Bill Belichick. I know we're changing sports, but Bill Belichick, when they had the great defense and you had Tom Brady and you had receivers, he accumulated those
Yeah.
wins. Bill Belichick also has the most losses in the NFL. Nobody ever talks about those. They talk about the wins. But when you're coaching for 24 years, you're going to accumulate
Lenny
a lot of
Wilkens
losses.
is the same
He
thing,
doesn't have the
right?
team.
Lenny Wilkens is
Yeah.
the same. He has the most wins, most losses. It's, you coach
I just want to
for
say
300 years. Anyway, the Leafs will take the Batman and swap him with Sheldon Keefe anytime.
I just want to add, I took a D2 volleyball program to D1 provincial finals. So yeah, I didn't have, my team, they were great coaching.
And yet he's a host on PuckTime. As you can see, he got no contract offers from any volleyball team.
We live in Canada. Nobody pays people that much to coach. It's just for the love of the game. It's for the love of the game. That's what it is. Let's move on here to Vegas and the Bees here, Karma. We talk a lot about these double headers, right? The Sunshine State double, the Alberta double, and then of course the desert double. But this time it's not working for Vegas in a good way. It's actually kind of hurting them, as the Bruins had the day off after losing to Arizona. But Vegas, second half of a back-to-back. Will they respond tonight? Carmine Bianco, what do you think?
One quick thing. When he was mentioning Gretzky, it made me think of, I don't know why, it made me think of, I was in Vegas staying at Caesars, and I'm at the pool at Caesars, and who walks in and gets into the pool? Paulina Gretzky. You have never seen a middle-aged man suck in his gut so quick that I think I realigned my spine for how quick I sucked in my...
Oh yeah, Carmine. She dumps in the pool, and she's like, "Oh my God, look at that handsome old bald guy. Shame about his gut.
Carmine,
Otherwise, I would take him upstairs, doggy style, baby. Oh wait, he sucked his gut in. I love that guy. We're going down now. Oh yeah." That's not how it went.
Maybe
down.
she's just
I would
maybe she's a fan of PuckTime. But speaking of which, listen, Aiden Hill was supposed to start. He was listed as a starting goalie yesterday, and we talked about it. And I talked about liking the under yesterday, whether it was Aiden Hill or Patera, because it wasn't Logan Thompson in goal. And I thought if it was Aiden Hill, they were going to protect him, at least. Keeping guys away from that, from in front of the net, keep the shots to the outside. Vegas is very good at doing that. It still went under the total without Aiden Hill. It was Patera in goal, not Ken Patera the wrestler, but Patera the goalie. And we don't know what the goalie is doing. They're showing, they're showing
Ken
Logan
Patera.
Thompson as the. They're showing Logan Thompson as the projected starter tonight, but he was ill and didn't make the trip, so I don't see how he could start tonight unless it was a 24-hour bug. I think maybe Aiden Hill, who made the trip and was scheduled to start, maybe he goes tonight, and it's one of the reasons why I still like the under. The under's at 6 here. And, the Bruins haven't been world beaters either. I went against them when they played against Arizona. They lose that game. Arizona gets the win there. And I just think these are two good teams that can play some very good defense as well. And when you have that, and you have a team like Vegas who are somewhat struggling to score goals, that you fall into those games that are like the 3-1 type games. And that's what this really feels like here. If Swayman and if it's not Aiden Hill, I just don't see on any site right now that it is Logan Thompson, especially because he didn't make the trip and he was ill. How he could start tonight. So I'm going to go with the under 6 here. Vegas is 3-3 this season on back-to-backs, and you can't really find anything in that number to make you want to fade them, because in the back-to-back, the flight from Colorado to back to Vegas is 45 minutes, less than an hour. You guys out on the West Coast know that. So they left after the game. They were home in bed before you even knew it. So I'm not worried about the travel and the back-to-back. Under 6 for me in this game, Prez. What are your thoughts?
Ken Patera reference on the show. That was stunning. No chance Andrew has a clue who you're talking about. But on Puck Time today, you heard a Ken Patera reference, a Paulina Gretzky reference, and it went under the radar, but someone said the word Jujube. Jujube. It was me, Jujube. That's a country in Africa, in case you people don't know. Carman, I got to tell you.
Do we have Don Cherry on this show? Do we have Don Cherry here with these you peoples? Who are you calling you people? All right. We don't need it. We don't need anyone getting any Don Cherry comparisons on this show, Prez.
Okay.
You
are
people.
We done now? Anyway.
Maybe.
And one of our listeners says Paulina Gretzky's overrated. I mean, yes, okay. From the neck down, she's underrated. Okay, let's not get into this. I hate this game. This game is a tough one. Look, I don't think the Bruins are nearly as good as their record suggests. And I think they're going to come down to earth, and they have come down to earth. I mean, they had an incredible start. With that said, they still keep on winning. They have lost their last 2 games. Both went to overtime. Vegas is much better than their current form, and not as good as the way they started the season. I'm sitting here waiting for Vegas to turn this around. It's not like they're the world's most injured team. There's simply no reason for them to be losing as much as they're losing. They've won 3 games in their last 10, 2 games in their last 9. They couldn't put a goal up against Colorado. I don't know where to go here. Look, Vegas is playing to the under. The Bruins, though, they keep scoring and playing to the over. I got to pass on this game. And I'm sorry, guys. These 2 teams are really tough to handicap for me.
Well, Prez, I think, just based on what you were just saying there, it's kind of like, do you go with what you think could happen or change, or do you go with what's been happening? And I think that if you're going based on what you've seen, like you mentioned, the Vegas Golden Knights haven't been scoring consistently.
But they're going to go on a run. They're going to turn this around
tonight. Does that happen tonight?
I don't know. I don't know.
That's the thing.
It's like Vancouver is coming down to earth at some point, Andrew. This Vancouver team is now out on the road winning game after game after game after game. And it's like, do I bet against them every night, knowing that at some point they're going to lose a game? I can't do that. I already tried. I took the Islanders against Vancouver. I was wrong. I don't know where to go with Vancouver, and I don't know where to go with Vegas because I'm waiting for both of those teams to turn.
Well, I wish I could take my own advice more on this, but as you know, Prez, a streak only loses once. But it can go on and on and on. Like Seattle, right. I know I'm waiting for, I've been known to be kind of a hater of the Kraken.
Edmonton
and all of a sudden
is what?
They're on a good run.
Edmonton's at 8 now.
So having said all of this, I haven't really talked about too much plus money on the show. I guess I mentioned the Islanders. I'm going to give out here. I think I like Boston, whether it's plus 110 or plus 115. A couple books are showing some different prices. Team total up and over 3.5. I got to give one team total out on the show here. Looking at this Boston team, they were just disgusted after that loss against the Arizona Coyotes. But not just that. If you watch the game, Arizona played well, but if you watch the game, Boston deserved better. Boston had several chances. Pasternak was shut down multiple times by Connor Ingram. I keep saying this about certain goalies, but if Connor Ingram played for another team, like let's say he played for the Vegas Golden Knights, he would get way more attention. Ingram is one of the best goalies in the league, and he plays for the Arizona Coyotes, so he does not get that credit. I feel like we're going to see an offensive outburst from this Boston Bruins team tonight, just based on kind of how they played, and then end up losing that game. 1 day rest where we're going to get Vegas here in the second half of a back-to-back. Look, I know they didn't get much offense going yesterday. Maybe they will turn that around today. But when it comes down to it, I don't trust this Vegas team defensively right now. I look for Boston to bounce back chasing the plus money, that plus 110, 115, guys. Team total up and over 3.5 for me with the Boston Bruins. That'll be my play for this game. And, Vegas has been playing okay defensively, but I feel like in order to get going offensively, they have to open the ice up. And if they do that, I'm sure Boston can find some chances themselves on their own end. What do you think, Carm?
Listen, I tend to agree with you. You talked about the Vegas offense as well too. Like they've been shut out. What I think 2 of their last 4 games. When you're getting shut out, you've got no offense. But they also have 3 or 5, I think it's 3 or 4 players out of the lineup, and we've talked about it. When the guys are missing from the lineup, it changes the chemistry of the team, which it's one of the reasons why I don't like the Devils tonight. Timo Meier. On the week, I think it was on the weekend, he goes on to the IR. Jack Hughes obviously injured. So when players are missing, it makes that much tougher on the team. But I get it. And that's one of the reasons why I like I mentioned the under, Andrew. You're talking about like the Bruins and getting plus money. If it's one of those 3-1 games that the Bruins win, we both get there. You get your plus money on the Bruins. I get my under in the game. And I saw some guys talking about like revenge factor, and the Vegas Golden Knights lost to the Bruins, 3-1 in Vegas last year. I don't think teams think about revenge from previous years. I think it's this year and this year only type of thing is, when you get bombed by a team, kind of like what Colorado did in Vegas, you tend to store that in the back of your brain that, hey, they did this to us. Let's exact a measure of revenge on them, on our ice. So we'll see how that goes today or tonight. Oh,
Carm, why don't you start
one other
things off
point,
with best
Andrew.
bets, man? Why don't you start things off
Yeah,
for
one
us?
other point. You talked about, yeah, I will. One other point, because you mentioned Connor Ingram, and I tweeted out about him during that Boston game. The guy was phenomenal. He was making saves. Any other goalie in the Bruins win that game and probably win it easily. He made some in close saves off of Pasta with his foot, with his glove. It was unbelievable. He literally stole that game for the Coyotes. And speaking of which, that now takes us into tonight's show best bet. So we hit with Cole Caulfield under 3.5 shots on goal yesterday. He only had 1 shot on goal. So it's been almost 3 weeks since I've lost a show best bet. I don't want to jinx it, mush it, knock on wood. I am going with the Calgary Flames tonight against Arizona. The Calgary is playing much better hockey. If you're watching their games and you're not just looking at the standings, you're not just looking at the score reports, they're playing better hockey, generating more high danger chances. And Arizona played so well that they're just going to come off of that win. And I think they're going to absolutely bounce tonight. You're getting the Flames at minus 120. And I think that's a great buy low price against a team that, while winning last time out against Boston, did not look good in their previous games at home. And I just think it's a great spot to take the Calgary Flames tonight as your show best bet. And I'm going to put that up on the WagerTalk site as a free play as well. I've got 3 plays tonight. 2 of them are best bet, 4% selections for tonight. You can get those over at WagerTalk. And lastly, I want to mention our guest normally on Thursdays, Brian Leonard, who's fresh off a 5% winner, has another one loaded for tonight. You can find that over on his page at WagerTalk.
Yeah, just to jump in there and point out, Brian, I think offhand is the #1 NHL expert since day one over at WagerTalk, and he does not have these 5% plays very often, and he was kind enough to swap days with me. So let's give Brian Leonard a whole lot of love because these plays are rare. These plays win all the time, and he is an exceptional NHL record. And amazing hair for an old guy.
Great hair. Yeah, that's for sure. I hope I still have that kind of hair when I'm his age. That's for sure. Not a pot shot at his age, but I just hope I still have that much hair. Also, the winningest NHL capper, but also the winningest with 5% plays as well. So Brian's been great with those top plays, guys. What was I going to mention, Carm? Something you said there. I can't remember. Prez, over to you.
My hair. You don't want to. You want
you have the
Brian's
best hair
not
out of
mine.
anybody.
I get it. It's fine.
Carm, your hair is so good that you shave it just to find balance. Otherwise, like, people would be attacking you in the grocery store. Anyway, my show best bet is the New York Rangers tonight. And the only reason I didn't release this play was the line just kept going up and up and up. Now it's like minus 160 out there. Look, I think the New York Rangers are one of the best teams in hockey, and their record suggests that as well. I think the St. Louis Blues are not one of the best teams in hockey, and I think this is a regression team. There's big rumors out there that Binnington might be traded to the Edmonton Oilers. So I think St. Louis is going to be a seller come trade deadline, and I think that we have this St. Louis team in the right spot. They'd won 2 games in a row. They just lost to Florida. But I wouldn't want to play the Rangers. I don't want to play the Rangers after they lose 2 games in a row. It does not happen often. And I don't think they're going to lose 3 games in a row. I think this is a good spot for the Rangers. And they match up very well against St. Louis as well from a matchup perspective. So the New York Rangers, but I would not bet it at minus 170. I would limit it at around minus 165, but that would be my show best bet. Also, to make mention, Carmine will be on WagerTalk today. Same with Kyle Anthony and Marco D'Angelo. Also, Teddy and I are running an odd couple promotion. Get 3-day all access from me, and you get Teddy for free, or you get it from Teddy and you get me for free. And tonight I have 2 NHL bets for my clients, 1 NBA, 1 college basketball, and I am up profit in all 3 of those sports. I grant you the last couple of days have been shit, but we're going to go through the roller coaster no matter what. All I care about is that I'm up profit, and I am up profit in all 3 of those sports. I will not be around next week, guys. Thank you for having me. I am going to run. I got to go prepare for WagerTalk today. Mwah.
All right. Karma, I think we're out of time for my best bet. Might have to call it a day. So I'll mention it really quick.
Give us a winner. When Prez, just quickly, because I know Dan hates this when I do this, our producer Dan, because he's got to set up for the next show. When Prez says he's got to take off and get ready for the next show, is he not still sitting at the same desk with the same camera and computer? Where is he running to? He's going nowhere. He's literally just logging out and then logging back in.
He just spoke for 10 minutes, and then he's like, I got to leave now.
Yeah.
All right, Carm.
He's got to finish the shawarma. Cool. Give us a best bet.
We have a promo going up this afternoon, and it will be our version of an odd couple promo. 7 days, NHL only, not all sports, NHL only. You buy Carmine's 7-day, you'll get mine as well, and vice versa. It'll be a package you can get at both of our pages. I will tweet that out this afternoon for you guys to get kind of a nice little puck time special to get our plays for 7 straight days. But here's the deal. The LA Kings have costed people some coin over the last week and a half. The fact is, this is the first time in a long time that they are an underdog. Florida Panthers just played a 4-game road trip. This will be their first game back at home. They should be very satisfied after their road trip as well. I'm happy to jump back in on this Kings team now that I'm getting plus money. I'll take plus 120 tonight on an LA Kings team to get out of their rut and to catch the Florida Panthers in a very poor spot here. So go Kings go for me tonight. Carm is rolling. Prez profitable in 3 sports. You got to love it. And guys, plenty more shows coming up today here on WagerTalk TV. Thanks.